Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. My name is Adam Rosman and I will be your host today. Today is the 22nd of May 2024. We can skip introductions and just a few reminders. Please remember that the meeting is recorded. If you want to have the project filter for the help wanted label or the good first issue label, and then you can pick up any of the issues, and that would help the project greatly. Recently, I have moved a lot of issues into frozen state because there are a lot of good ideas, but we don't have that much time to work on those. If you would like to become an official adopter of Metal3, then feel free to create a PR and edit the adopters.md file of the community repository. It's in the root of the repository. And by doing that, you would also greatly help the project. Other than this, if you are experiencing CI issues, there have been a lot of CI changes, a lot of change to the whole infrastructure of the, especially the end-to-end tests and the integration and the feature tests. So if you are experiencing any problems, then just create an issue within the affected repository and then link that issue to the Metal3 CI tracker project. And that way the CI maintainers can better handle the issue. And other than that, feel free to check out any of the links below to learn more about the project. And then we have one reminder from last week, and that is a documentation review request from Dimitri.
So this time, not exactly documentation, that's a design proposal.
Yeah.
That's about making biosettings and firmware updates work for already provisioned hosts. I promised a video of that. I still didn't share it through some community accessible locations. I will do it hopefully today.
I promised last time I would check it. I forgot to subscribe, so I missed out on this one. Yep. Is there any questions related to this? In my opinion, it's a very good and natural improvement. Okay, if nothing, then we can continue with the working groups. Again, from Dimitri, it looks like today you will be the one speaking. So from
yeah, nearly a monologue for me, right? I don't have a lot of updates really. I know Mohammed has been looking into host networking and related problems. I believe it's a huge rabbit hole. I hope we tackle it eventually, but also I'm a bit worried how we can even approach that. On my side, okay, also on his side, I believe Fake API has seen some discussions and reviews still, so it's not completely stuck, but also it hasn't been merged yet, I think. And on my side, I'm doing this documentation work. There's another thing I need to do in addition to user guide cleanup is people keep requesting me to document what we expect from Redfish, like which Redfish APIs we're allowing. And this is something I probably put to BMO repo, but it's not user guide because clearly not like user-facing information. It's more like integration guide. So basically, like people sometimes come and ask, okay, we are hardware vendors. What do I need to do to integrate with Metal3? So I'll probably propose a markdown file in BMO unless you convince me to do it elsewhere. Other than that, once done with this, I really hope, barring any downstream complications, to get back to our own extended on operator and maybe even ask someone, maybe Himanshu, to help me with that.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, just related to the networking, I was also reading the discussion and I was also talking with Mohammed about that. I think we can do it. Well, I don't know if it was written down in the discussion that Mohammed started, but I think for now the goal is just to do it for the redfish and not for the iPixie stuff. So from that perspective, I think we would be able to manage with some either the cube whip or the metal LB.
Maybe we need to make sure we don't block ourselves a path to HA, because HA is going to complicate everything immediately. Yeah, I'll check I'll check the latest comments. Somebody probably needs to have a really carefully written and detailed design proposal, to be honest. And maybe actual proof of concept. I'm actually very happy that Mohammed's talking about doing a proof of concept, because I don't think we're going to progress without one.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. Is there any other questions related to this one from anyone? If not, then the next would be from release team. I think, as far as I remember, there is no releases coming within a week, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not aware of any item.
Yeah, yeah, no release is coming. We are still a mess. And also Adil is on PTO for 1.5 weeks at least.
Yeah. Yes. So then the next one is the discussion topics. And these are the review requests from you, Dimitri. And
Okay, back to me.
yes.
Live updates, I already mentioned that. That's a design proposal. Then I have 2 user guides improvements. So the one you're looking at is relatively simple. I believe you put LGTM here already. It's basically a lot of incorrect information about our running container images. It's wildly outdated. I fix some, remove some, so that should be easy to approve. The second one is the one we discussed at the very beginning. I don't remember if it was before recording or after, but this is restructuring features documentation in BMO, splitting them into 2 halves, basic features and advanced features, and then I took 4 of them and cleaned them up. Fixed formatting, information, examples, just made some parts less verbose, some parts more verbose, provided links to ironic documentation. So just a lot of like moving around and rephrasing and reformatting.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I will read through this one. Yeah, the other one I already GTM'd earlier today and during the day.
Yep. And the last but not least has been open for quite some time. That's basically feature parity work. We have this custom deploy support in BMO, but not in CAPM 3. Since we at Red Hat are now looking at CAPM 3 gradually, we desperately need that because we rely on custom deploy, not on the image. So an LGTM would be appreciated. That's probably my first big contribution to CAPM 3. So take a look if I'm doing everything correctly.
Yeah, I won't go through the whole stuff here. Can you a bit, because I completely missed this one. How does that work in general? Like, there is no ironic, no PMO, or how do we, or is it just switching the EPA for this custom image?
So custom deploy is a way, you can actually read the spec, but it's a bit long. But to put it shortly, custom deploy is a way to replace the provisioning process. Instead of writing a QCOW image, you do something else. This something else has to come from your custom IPA image. So that's a very advanced feature, but we use that in Red Hat because we use CoreOS based RAM disks, and we use a special command CoreOS installer that lives inside this RAM disk and basically copies its own content over to the target disk. So a completely wildly different process. A bit niche feature, but yeah, basically a way for ultimate customization of your deployment process.
So if I understand correctly, this would, for example, make it possible to combine with CAPM3 a custom IPA that has, for example, deploy step overrides, right?
Yes, and that's what we're essentially currently doing in OpenShift, except we don't use CAPM3. So we have bare metal operator. This custom deploy support is already in bare metal host API, and we use that to provision using this bit of black box from the upstream perspective approach, where we have a custom deploy step called install CoreOS. It's actually open source. I can link you. You can find it's like OpenShift/ironic agent image. That does a completely different thing from what normal Ironic does. And I want to extend it to CAPM3 in the same vein, right? So when your machine is provisioned using this process, not by writing an image.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's it. This is a very good, very good extension. This is something that I will need during the upcoming months. So that's great. I will subscribe to this. Thank you. That's very good. Is there any questions or comments related to this? I see that Tomo, for example, you already participated here in the review, and Leonard also.
Yeah, I mean, I just asked Dimitri to put in some description because that wasn't quite self-explanatory as we discussed. But I'm not that feature design predates my Metal3 participation. So while the coding was not too extensive, I don't feel like I'm qualified to LGTM that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think it's anyways more interesting to do those who are heavily customizing Ionic Python agents, and that's quite a small subset of users, I would guess. But recent days, I started to see people actually discussing IPA customizations and even iPXE customizations. So it seems that the user base who is customizing the boot process or the lower end of the provisioning process is growing. So that's awesome. I will wait while you are finished editing, and then we can continue to the next one if no one else has any questions or comments.
Yeah, sure. I've just posted an example of a custom hardware manager that contains the deploy steps that we use. We actually have two different processes. One is absolutely crazy. The other one is this install CoreOS, which I'm talking about. And the other thing is, so back in the KubeCon, the person from OSPO, our community organization, approached me about a potential way for us to create a webinar. It publishes to CNCF resources, which is something we cannot do as what we call sandbox, right? We're in the sandbox.
Yes, yes.
So we cannot do it as a sandbox project, but Red Hat has slots it can use. So I can like push it internally so we can apply through a Red Hat slot, not through a normal project slot. Anyway, that's something for me to figure out. The idea is this. Please review it. And I'm thinking of doing introduction myself potentially. And I need somebody to cover section number 2, and so somebody from Ericsson, because I want to have different representatives of different parts of our community here. So if you or somebody who is good at public talking and demoing want to do that, please reach out to me and I'm going to discuss the details.
And that's awesome. Yeah, I remember we discussed this on KubeCon, and yeah, this is a great opportunity. When is the date for this, or is there no fixed date, or how is it?
So once we settle down our plans and decide on speakers and decide on the structure, we apply through our internal means. So we write a summary. So it happens when it happens. Let's put it this way.
Okay, yeah, I will bring this to our team and discuss this. At least I'm sure we will, like, even if I don't know, like the sun doesn't come up for 2 days, we will join this. It's awesome. Thanks. That's very good. Is there any comments, questions related to this? I can keep it up if you folks in the meeting want to read it. If nothing, I wanted to ask a question, but again, we have quite a small audience. That how is the review support feels like, or the review coverage? We recently, I think 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, enabled this 2 weeks ago this tool that spreads the review requests across the like the reviewers and approvers. I was like interested to hear some feedback. That is it getting better or not? But yeah, there are only like 3 other people apart from me in the meeting, so I guess that's not a representative sample.
Yeah, I will just comment that the first week it was configured, or the blunderbuss always asks only from the reviewers, it doesn't ask from approvers. So for the first week, it piled the review requests on the reviewers, because we in many repos have more reviewers than approvers, so it piled up. And then we figured this out, and then we implemented this owners aliases group, so we also added the approvers to reviewers, and now it should be much more spread out. So apologies if some of you got spammed. At least I could see that Adam got quite a lot of reviews on him last week.
Yeah, because of the what was that this dependable. But anyways, I think it's going to the good direction. At least for me, in my workflow, it helps a lot to see, like, to being CC'd or linked to the issues. Don't need to check emails and chat and whatever. I had another topic. Just let me find it. We still have quite a few people, but I think I will carry it over for the next meeting, because this is something that we kind of sort of forgot about, and I don't know what was the original plan even. Where is that? Was it unit? Might have been merged. I'm looking for a provider ID unit test. 1 second to check something. I think this will read it. Interesting. I haven't seen it. Okay, so I was just reviewing this and discussing with Pepe about these unit tests. It's not really that important in a sense that it's fine, but this was in our backlog, and Pepe now fixed it and created the unit tests. But I started to wonder that how long are we planning to maintain the two format of the provider IDs in CapM3, because we actually came up with the solution more than 2 years ago, or about 2 years ago. And if I understand correctly, since then, we are basically supporting both these formats, and it makes, I mean, it's not that big of an overhead, but you can see it even from like the test surface that it complicates the internal logic quite a bit. And why we changed the old format is that the old format was matched more aggressively, so it wasn't that good of a design. So we changed it to this newer format where you have like namespace, node, and then stuff, not just whatever this is, UUID or something like that. So this is something that I wanted to bring up, but I think today we have only a few of us here. So I will carry it over for the next meeting.
So Adam, do we migrate existing provider IDs? Like if we see an old one, are we gonna
No.
change to a new one?
No.
That's a problem, right? Because maybe like clusters running for a long time as old ones.
But the two works together. So you can, if I understood correctly, you can have both. Let me just bring up the tests. So something, if I understood correctly, can have like it can be mixed. So you can move, not that one node, one entity can have two IDs, but then in a setup you can mix them. So you don't have to like switch that now from this point on I just use one. It simultaneously handles and even handles the duplication matching. So even if you have mixed format of provider IDs for like 10 nodes, it can still figure out that is there a duplication or not. So it's relatively easy if you have like if you had during the last 2 years time to change slowly, like object by object even. Of course, because it was so seamlessly supported, many of the users might skip this and just kept using the old ones. So maybe the first step would be to like announce the deprecation and like give a year, or I don't know how much time for people for users to migrate.
Can we migrate it automatically? I guess that's the core of my question.
That's a good question. I don't know if you like, I don't know if by default, I would expect that by default we use the new ones. So I need to check that.
Yeah, because it's one thing if we tell people, okay, you need to manually and carefully migrate your nodes. It's another thing we say, okay, starting from the next release, we are going to automatically migrate everything we touch. And then in a year, that's the old format is going to be gone. I think the second is a bit more operator friendly.
Yeah. I certainly didn't plan to suggest to like just switch over the next release or forcibly convert the IDs if someone is still like as I said, like I remember my memory is that by default you would get new IDs if you are using the new versions. It's only if you are explicitly want to use the old, then you can still use them. At least that's my memory. But I will now write it down. So how long are we planning to support the two different and then from Dimitri. Yeah. Is there something else I should write down? So are we doing the automatic conversion? What should we do? Yeah, and I said that yeah. Is there any comment or question related to this? Should I add something else? Okay, I will if I have time, I hope I will check this last one, and then this one, and then maybe next time we will have more participants and can have a wider discussion about this. I will also put here about the tests, how this actually looks. The two formats. Okay. Other than this topic, if there are nothing else for the agenda, is there any other question, suggestion, ask, problems, improvements, anything that we should still discuss today? Okay. If there's nothing else, then thank you for your time and patience, and thank you, Dimitri, for the lots of good topics that you brought today. And yeah, let's meet next week, and next week we will do some triaging. And until then, have a great week, and bye bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Goodbye.